All right. So I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. The Bay Area is not to be underestimated when it comes to hip hop. And my guest today is no exception, especially because he's from my hometown. Please welcome Casey Cope. How are you doing today, Casey?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. So, let's just get right into it. I know you just dropped your tape for now,
Yeah,
but let's bring it back a little bit.
sure.
So, start with a little bit of your musical background, I guess, because with this album, I feel like I have a lot of things that make me feel like you have a background in music outside of like just doing this, but I don't know.
What do you mean? Like grew up playing instruments as a kid and stuff?
Yeah, that and like some of your singing just feels really like well done.
Oh,
So it's almost like you have some sort of training in it.
that's the first time I've ever heard that. Thanks. Um, yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't play any instruments or anything as a kid. I played guitar for like a little bit. I was taking lessons for a little bit when I was like 6, and I just didn't like it. My fingers like hurt pressing the strings, and it was too big of a guitar, and I just didn't like it. And I learned how to read guitar tabs when I was at camp when I was like 13.
Hmm.
And for those of you that don't know, it's just kind of like a bullshit way of learning to play guitar. Like there's no music theory behind it. It's just like telling you where to put your fingers. And I did that for a little bit. I was planning on being like the lead singer of like a pop punk band, all the shit I was listening to at the time, Green Day and Blink-182 and stuff like that. Um, and so I decided I was going to start making music. And then around high school, I started listening to hip hops. And then I was like, well, I listen to this now. I'll just start making this. And I've been pretty much on that ever since. But no real like training in anything like that. I did go to school for engineering. I went to college at
Hmm.
Expression in Emeryville, but yeah, no real like musical training like that at all. It's been real like off the cuff and kind of learning on my own. And it kind of sucks. I kind of wish I did stick with those lessons when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, because I was listening to your album again over the weekend, and just I don't know, I just really like how you sounded on these days when you're kind of like singing a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, man. I've been real into this like messing with vocal effects kind of thing. I got a vocoder like 2 summers ago, and I've fallen in love with it. I really like mixing live vocals with vocoder, or like in that song, I mix my pitched up vocals with vocoder. Like I
Mhm.
like doing weird things like that. It's I don't know, it's really interesting.
That's actually something I was going to ask. Like, it sounds like on a few of the songs there is a bit of a vocoder, but I guess that straight
Yeah,
up answers that.
I use it on that song, and you know what? That actually might be it on that album. I might only use the vocoder. I use autotune a little more. I've
Yeah.
never used autotune before this record, but
Hmm.
yeah, I've fallen in love with autotune a little bit. I never thought I would.
Nice. So you said, so did you start doing music right around high school then? Or
Um,
well, it sounds like you were doing music before that, but you kind of
yeah,
leaned more into hip hop later on.
yeah. I started maybe when I was like 13, like playing guitar and stuff, and then I kind of fell away from that when I got into high school and
Hmm.
started some garage band, and they were really bad, but it's kind of the way it goes. Yeah, I've only really started making hip hop since high school. But, yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. As far as kind of like just your overall recording process, how does that go? Like, do you start because you make the beats as well? I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I produce. I have a production credit on pretty much all my songs, on
Hmm.
all of them actually, except for like 2 in my whole discography. But it's me and my guy Big Soda. He plays bass for me live. He's an artist in his own right. He makes like folk jazz. Really incredible dude. He mixes and masters my songs. He's a big influence on my music. It would not be the same without him. So yeah, me and Big Soda do everything
Nice.
so far.
Okay, cool. And I guess with this project, did when did you start recording it? Because in my mind, I feel like you might have done some of it during this whole quarantine thing, but I don't know how much was actually done during this or before.
Uh, I No, we did all of it pretty much in 19. I think it was done by October of 19, like
Okay.
the recording and stuff, and then we spent the last few months like mixing. Um, but I think it was made all between May and October of 19. So all this stuff to me is like not very new, and I still like it, and it's my best work. But it's like I'm not as actively excited about it as I had been. I really do like it, but I'm more about like moving on and trying to make new sounds and stuff. But
Right.
yeah,
So you're ready for whatever's next.
yeah, exactly.
Well, with that said, do you have like something coming up?
Um, yeah, well, I'm gonna start a press run for this record for now. Next week, I'm gonna be doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Me and Big Soda did a podcast episode on each song. I'm doing beat breakdowns for every song, doing little lyric videos for every song. So
Let's
trying
go.
to push that out, and then I don't think I'm gonna have another project for a while. I think I'm just gonna do singles for a long time. I've accumulated a lot of music over the last since this record came out since
Hmm.
October. So I'm trying to just put out a bunch of songs. I'm kind of tired of like promoting one thing a year. I'd rather have 12 things to put out that year. Keeps me excited because I don't have this thing where I've been sitting on a record for 6 months.
Fair enough. Your music to me feels like this, like or as far as inspirations go, I feel like you get inspirations kind of like from a little bit of Chance, a little bit of like Coda the Friend, and
Hmm.
like bits of it, like to me, sound kind of like Sylvan LaCue. But who are your actual inspirations?
Um, Chance is kind of one of them. I haven't listened to too much Code of the Friend, but I do kind of like him. And I don't think I've heard any Sylvan McHugh. I think he's featured on a couple Collaborate songs. I'm a big
Mhm.
Collaborate fan. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but incredible rapper from the Bay Area. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Collaborate is one of my influences. Kid Cudi,
Mhm.
Kanye, Kendrick, and the 1975 are my two favorite artists. I can't stress enough how much I love Kendrick and the 1975. I'll talk about them in every interview. Um, Smashing Pumpkins, uh, Outcast. I've just really gotten into in the last like year. Love Below is like
Oh yeah.
super excited about. I keep telling people like, "Have you heard about this record? It's fucking incredible." Like, yeah, fucking love it. But yeah, Tyler the Creator is a huge one. A lot of things like that. A lot of hip hop that is not through and through hip hop. I would say a lot of hip
Yeah, kind
hop.
of like stuff that's more like not fully experimental, but like just a little bit tweaked, I guess.
Yeah, down to experiment with melodies and experiment with just weird sonics and stuff. That's why I appreciate Kanye so much. Is regardless of how much you like the music, every album he's doing something different that he's never really done before. I really,
That's yeah. It's very true.
I strive to do the same thing. So it's not always going to pay off, but it'll keep things interesting. So I mean,
Yep.
risk reward.
I guess we can get into the actual album now.
Yeah, sure.
uh, so I wrote notes on pretty much every song except for "Dwell" for some reason. But what do you have to say, like starting off the album, and like, or like, what was the mindset you were going into with this project?
Yeah, this was a project that like wasn't really planned. We had kind of just been making songs. Um, in the early stages of making a project, me and Big Soda kind of just make songs and see what sticks, and then we get three, and we're like, okay, these are core three. How do we go about this? That wasn't really the case for this. This sort of just happened out of just the things I was going through last year.
Hmm.
I kind of just made this project because it was a project I like needed to make, not because I set out to like, okay, I'm gonna make a project that feels like this or sounds like this, or I need to have these themes. It wasn't really like that. It was more just I made it because I needed to make it, and then I started thinking about later on the process. Okay, how can I link all these songs?
Hmm.
I don't actually know what your initial question was, so hopefully that answered it.
No, that's about right. Because I was really just asking like what was going on and like what was the thought process with it. So that's about that goes through it pretty well. um, and it sounds like yeah, you. I was gonna say some of the songs really flow well into the next. So it sounds like that was a pretty conscious decision there.
Yeah, I'm a pretty project oriented person. I really like albums and I really like sequencing, um, and narrative, and I like having things be one thing. This album to me doesn't really feel like putting out singles felt weird because it just feels like one thing that should be listened to in like 25 minutes.
Right. So it's like because they all basically connect to each other in some way
Yeah,
or another.
yeah. I started doing this thing on my prior project, dancing, that I do a lot on for now, where
Mhm.
uh, I'll say lines verbatim like across multiple songs. Um, and just put them in different contexts. A, to link things together, and B, it kind of flips the script on what the line actually means or what it means in the overarching, uh, project. So yeah, I don't know. I really like things like that tie songs together.
Yeah, I mean that's always exciting to listen to as well, just because you pick up on these things as you listen, and you're like, oh shit, that's what he said before, but it
Yeah,
sounds different now.
yeah, and I feel like you're probably not even gonna catch stuff like that on first or second listen, but
Oh
maybe
yeah,
the third listen you will. I like re-listenability, being able to catch things. That's why I like Kendrick so much. I can listen to a song, and on the 18th listen, I'll be like, oh, that's what that line meant.
yeah. It definitely gives your music more replayability. Yeah, for sure.
But as a new artist, it can be hard because that's gonna turn some people off. But that's the trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really comes down to making music that you want to listen to, but
Yeah,
also that is accessible to others.
yeah, exactly.
I think on Dwell, it starts off, it kind of sounds like there's a bit of vocoder on it. I might be wrong.
No,
Like
it's
just,
yeah, it's all auto tune. I
okay.
basically it's just singing into auto tune, and then we like copied it, 6 times. So it's like my
Mhm.
bass, like my actual voice, and then we pitch it up a fifth, and we pitch it up an octave, and we pitch it down a fifth, and down, whatever. So you're just singing a chord each note. So you can really do whatever you want because you can't sing out of key. It's auto tune.
Right.
I'm doing all these weird noises. It's like, who cares? It's gonna stay in key. So you get some interesting stuff messing around with that. But yeah, we're experimenting with that like auto tune choir thing a bit,
Hmm.
and I still want to use it in a couple different other contexts, but it's like I don't want to overdo it. So we'll see. But I like
Fair
it.
enough. Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting start to the album when you hear that coming in. So it's like not everyone's gonna be like into it right away, I feel, but
Yeah,
I thought it was weird enough that I was like, okay, I'm gonna I'll stick around
yeah,
it.
sure. If I tell you I'm a Bay Area rapper putting out this new hip hop album from new Bay Area
Oh
hip
yeah.
hop artists, and then you hear that, you're like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people still think that Bay Area music is very just hyphy oriented,
Yeah,
but like the stuff that I've been reviewing and listening to this year is like so off from that. Like it it does still have that like Bay Area sound, but it's not the what most people would expect, I'd say.
yeah. There's a lot of new Bay Area artists that I'm starting to get really excited about that put out a couple projects this year.
Yeah.
Thomas Jordan being one of them. I think Jammy is really good. I don't know if you know Jammy, but really good like pop artist, basically, fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Um, Hokage Simon, they're all like,
Yeah.
yeah, super super dope.
Yeah. Like there's just so much variety out there that I feel like
Yeah,
people are just kind of ignoring.
yeah. I think it'll get its shine. I think there's enough variety and enough new sounds, not even to Bay Area music, but just to popular music that
Yeah,
it'll get its shine.
most definitely. Sticking with Dwell, I guess. What can you say about this track as like an intro, and why did you choose this as an intro track?
I'd always known it was gonna be the intro from like the second we made it. For a while, we just had that auto tune choir part and snaps, and it just felt so like homey. Like it felt like I could be in like a room with like 30 people and they're all just singing that and clap. That's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just felt like that's a nice introduction. Um, and I ended up writing the lyrics to it. Is one of the last songs,
Hmm.
um, and it ended up being a real. I see it as like a real prophetic song, lyrically speaking. It's talking about things that happen later on in the album, like totally out of context. So there's a lot of like, little sort of out of context like lines and bars that kind of don't make sense on their own if you really like thinking about it or if you're just reading the lyrics. But then if you hear the whole album and then you listen to it again, you're like, ah, okay, he was speaking on this thing later on.
Right. So it's yeah, that's kind of like that's what I enjoy in intros, where it's kind of like it's really just an intro to the project to just give you like an idea of what you're going to be hearing,
Mhm.
even if you don't necessarily pick up on it right away.
Yeah. And it's like totally just topically and thematically what you're going to be hearing, but not sonically. Like it's not. There's no
Yeah.
song on Dwell after that.
So originally it sounds like you were mostly just going to keep it as the intro, like the beginning part of it, right? And then
Yeah.
just kind of add the verse after the fact.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like I didn't even know what to do with it.
Hmm.
Because me and Big Soda did that, just the choir and the claps. And we're like, okay, this is cool. Like, and I want to just rap over this for a second, but then like, okay, how do I make this like a song instead of just like a cool little part?
Right.
Um, so then we just added the rest of the stuff. I brought it home and added the organs and the bass and stuff, and then it became like a full thing for the most part. Brought it back to Big Soda. He added some textures, and then boom, it's a full song.
Nice. And then this fades in really well to these days.
Mm.
What can you say about that?
That song was uh I had gone to the barber shop like before the studio that day, and I heard some soul song. I don't remember what it was. Um, and I listened to like that album just on the way to the studio that day, and I was like, you know what, Big Soda, let's make a soul song today. Like not a neo soul song, nothing like that. Like let's just make a soul song.
Mm-hmm.
I made the drum loop, which is really like a super super simple drum loop, just to give Big Soda the tempo and the general idea. And then he laid down the bass and the guitar, which is like the whole beat. That's like what the whole beat revolves around. He laid that down like pretty much immediately, and that was it. Like, okay, song's done. Like that's we just add a bunch of textures after that. And I think on that song, really all I did was the drums. Big Soda kind of did the rest. I like gave him the general idea, like how we should feel while listening to it, but he just kind of ran away with it. And it's fun collaborating with people, especially Big Soda, because if you can just hit him on the right day and in the right mood and stuff, it's like, okay, I'll just give you this idea or give you this drum loop or whatever. And then I just kind of sit back and like watch his brain work for like a half hour, whatever it is. And an hour later, we have a whole instrumental. Big Soda did it all I had to do was come up with an idea.
That's pretty cool though. Like it's nice to have that sort of collaboration, I think.
Yeah. And I didn't really have that before I met Big Soda in like 2016. It's been really cool to be able to do that. He's an incredible dude.
That's awesome. Actually, these days is one of those songs that just actually gets stuck in my head most often just because of the chorus on it.
Oh, nice.
Like
Thanks.
it just stays there.
Yeah,
um
one of my favorite choruses I've written so far. It's the most like, I don't know. It's just the most like ear candy E1, I would say.
yeah. It's a good way of putting it, I'd say. Stepping back actually, I forgot to mention on Dwell,
Mhm.
who's Crybaby?
Oh yeah,
Because she sounds great on
yeah,
this and the last track.
yeah. She's a Bay Area artist. She just has put out her first couple of songs.
Hmm.
I think they're both this year. Um, really, really, really incredible artist. She makes like jazz and pop, and I I can't even describe exactly what she does, but very, very amazing vocalist. And the only thing, like the only notes that I'm giving her during these recording sessions are not like note things. Like I can give her the melody and she'll just hit it immediately, and I'm just like, okay, that's good, but then just like pronounce this word a little bit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
She does everything really, really well. She came up with all the. I came up with the melody for it and the words, and then she just wrote all the stacks. Like her and Big Soda did all the layering of it. Um, and they did the same thing for Dwell and for Self.
Hmm.
They just wrote all the layering for it like in one sitting. Incredible. I'm not really good at that, but she bodied it. She's an amazing vocalist. Listen
That's
to
awesome. I'm gonna have to peep some of her singles because, like, I like I'm trying to remember now, but like on Dwell, I don't think she was as present as on Self. So
yeah,
like Self is where I was like, oh, this is this is someone else. Like this is
yeah.
someone that's actually like really good.
Actually on Dwell, her part on Dwell is like my favorite part of anything I've ever written.
Oh yeah.
And she just like it could have been a chorus and it kind of was for a second, but it's more like a bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just bodies it for like 8 bars. It's just so like soulful and just touches my heart, you know. Yeah, Crybaby's wonderful. She's amazing.
All right, going through the rest of this, back up to me just kind of sounds like one of those get out my face sort of songs. Like you're just kind of fed up with people.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I like that song. It's like it was the first song where I sort of implemented this idea of like, okay, I can make a hard rap song and like be like sort of tongue in cheek with it. You know, it's like I'm not really taking myself entirely seriously, even though I am saying things that I truly mean, but I'm saying things and pronouncing things in a way that's like, oh, like you're not really fully serious. But if you think I'm serious and you like it, it's fine. But like if you get it, like you're in on it, it's like a little like wink to the camera, you know.
Yeah,
I think you get a little more enjoyment out of it. But um, yeah, I like Back Up. It's just a fun little rap song. I don't know. It's not too much going on.
Right. I mean, to me, it kind of feels like, yeah, like you're saying, it's kind of like a wink at the camera sort of thing,
Yeah,
where if you just kind of listen to it in the background, like it sounds like you're really trying to be super serious about these things. But then if you
yeah,
pay attention to the lyrics at all, you're like, oh, okay, you're just having fun now.
yeah. Exactly. Like, um, what is that one? This girl I've been talking to be giving me shit, saying I'm so 2012 for smoking switches instead of backwoods. I don't hate my body proud enough to think they that good. It's like, oh, that's not a flex. That's not like cool. That's not even a cool thing to say. It's just like, oh,
Yeah. Like you're not even like actively trying to be hard. You're just like,
yeah, I'm just saying things that are.
yeah. Going into reprise, this kind of feels it slows things down a little bit, right?
Mhm.
And it sounds to me like you're really just talking about this girl that you recently met, and
Mhm.
then some stuff happened to her, and then it sounds like you guys hit it off pretty well, but I'm not sure if that plays into some songs later on too or not.
Um, yeah, I won't go too much into like the personal side of
Yeah,
it.
you don't have to.
But from like uh, a musical standpoint, yeah, it's more just to set the scene a little bit for the songs later on.
Hmm.
They're addressed at like the second verse of Skr Skr and in Him slash For Now and in Self. Like
Yeah,
it's sort of the first thing that's blatantly like about.
yeah, because it definitely sounds like a trend, like a transition point,
Mm-hmm.
especially coming right after backup. Like
Yeah.
it's like it just shifts almost
Mhm.
entirely.
Yeah. The first couple of songs are more like introductory and talking about themes and such, but it's not directly addressing the second half. It's more like indirectly addressing the second half. But Reprise is the first song. It's like, okay, here we go.
Right. Like it's kind of like the first part is where you're just having fun and just kind of mentioning these things kind of in the background where you're like trying to pique people's interest. And then
Yeah.
like once you get to reprise, they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense now.
Yeah.
Let's get into this.
The first three songs are kind of trying to bring you in a little bit, trying to get you to Reprise because I can't just start with Reprise.
Yeah. Like you're kind of luring them into a false sense of security with
Yeah,
the first bit.
exactly.
And like with Skirt Skirt, my only note is really just it sounds like a reflection piece.
Yeah, I guess it is. The first verse is really like a free write. Um, and the second verse is very reflective. Actually, the second verse is the last thing I wrote for the whole record. That's definitely the very
Hmm.
because we didn't really know what to do with that song. It was like a verse and then this chorus that's like just an instrumental sort of interlude kind of chorus. It's like no words.
Right.
Um, and I'm like, okay, where do we go from here? Like I could rap a second verse, but I don't really want to. I tried to shop it around to a few other artists and it didn't really work out. Um, and then we came up with that like stripped down sort of just Rhodes keys and super soft drums as opposed to the hard drums of the first half of the song. And it's like okay, I could write like a short verse after this. I just didn't want to linger on too much.
Fair enough.
Yeah, to answer your question, I'd say it's fairly reflective, especially the second verse. The
Yeah.
first verse is cool. First verse is like kind of flexy, but also reflective. Kind of like,
Yeah, that's kind of like what it sounds like. It's you have like aspects of like the first part essentially, but then you're also like the main focus is like what you're actually saying. It feels
yeah,
like.
yeah. It's kind of like it's kind of like almost like DeBaby kind of feelings. I'm talking about like police brutality.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah. Actually, and then going to the thing that you mentioned about features, like I actually think it works to your benefit to not have any features other than Crybaby on this because it really gets the listeners to hear you and like kind of hear your story. Because I don't know how well a feature would be able to like tie in the themes, at least in
Yeah,
my mind.
yeah, that's a good point. I don't really know who would have been the ideal features for. I had like two people for Skr Skr in mind, and I just like couldn't really get a hold of them.
Hmm.
But I think it did work out. I've had a couple of friends tell me that second verse on Skr Skr is their favorite of the whole record. So I'm like, oh, cool. It's one of mine too. I actually started rapping it at the live show like way before the album was even out.
Okay, that's awesome. That's always a fun way to do it too. I think like just rap a verse that no one's really known about, and then just put it into an album later on.
Yeah, especially because I'm like an artist that a lot of people don't know anyway. It's like you probably if you're seeing me at a show, you probably don't know who I am. unless you've
Yeah.
like been at a show by chance before. So it's like, what is it? I can do anything. Like, who cares? Nobody's gonna know if it's out. You know what I mean? Until they go on Spotify later if they're interested in doing so.
And
Whatever.
then they're probably looking for it, like, where the hell is this verse? Like, I know he performed it. It has to be out. And then we go into him slash for now, which to me, it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the first whole half kind of, well, I guess 3/4 of the song really is rapping from someone else's perspective about
Yeah,
what's going on. Okay.
yeah. It's about me,
Yeah.
which
Like they're rapping or they're talking about you, right?
yeah, and like yeah, it's rapping about myself from this girl's perspective.
Hmm.
It's like a lot of things that were like verbatim, like actually happened or actually said.
Oh, damn.
The realest thing about it. And I couldn't. I like had the first verse for a while, and it's like kind of like nice about me. It's like complimenting me, and I was like, well, I have to kind of shit on myself in the second verse, right? Like, I can't just like writing a song about yourself, about how good you are, how wonderful you are from somebody else's perspective is fucking stupid. So funny.
I mean, because when I first listened to it, I took it as like her, or like her saying these things about you is like kind of in a negative way almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's what you intended to do, but like it really just sounds like she's just like overwhelmed, I guess is a way to put it.
Yeah, that was kind of the point.
Okay.
That actually happened. I was just trying to depict like what actually happened without.
Hmm.
I feel like there's a lot of based on a true story movies and stuff that like it's based on a true story. It's mostly true, but they had to make these three people into one character because three characters wouldn't work in the story. Whatever. Like I don't want to do any of that. I want to just
Hmm.
say things flat out and like plain and just how fucking life is.
As true to life as possible.
Yeah, like Reprise is a very like it's a story that kind of doesn't go anywhere. It's like sort of unresolved. And it's like, well, it's I don't know, it's just how it happens. I don't know what to tell you.
That's just how life is sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it very real.
Yeah, I did the same thing on For Now on the song For Now.
Hmm.
That was like a very real thing. Like I was really at my homie's house. Like we were watching the 2019 NBA draft. Like we were watching Zion get picked.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like got this like breakup text on the way there. Like I was like,
Oh shit.
I like looked on my phone. I had a huge block of text. I was like, all right, I'm gonna read this when I get to my homie's house. So I got there and now I'm like reading it and like everybody's like laughing, having a good time, and I'm just fucking simping. And then, but hey, I made a cool song. So
Yeah. It worked out in the end, I guess.
I'm for the cool record. You know, I'm down for it.
And I was gonna say with for now, it kind of sounds like you were in like well, you're pretty straightforward about it. Like that's actually what happened. But I was
Mm-hmm.
gonna say it sounds like this is what happened afterwards, and that this is kind of where you are now, and a little bit of again, kind of like reflection, but not as much. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's just kind of like touching on it, like just enough to make the listener feel like, oh damn, so this is actually where this went.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And then going into self, like it transitions really well, and a lot of times I feel like it's just the one long song because
Yeah.
like it sound like sonically it sounds just close enough, at least
Oh,
to me, to my ears. But to
yeah,
me it sounds like it's a continuation.
yeah. Big Soda did all those like did the keys on him and the keys on Self in the same day. Like we did them just back to back beats. We did For Now a little later, but he did the keys on that as well. So that's all Big Soda.
Well, going into self again, like it's like it feels to me a continuation of the for now part,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more focused on self care rather than just kind of lingering in whatever emotions you have at the time.
Yeah, it's more. It's about like I think him For Now is really like external and like thinking about things that are outward and you can't do anything about. Whereas
Mm.
Self is more like, okay, like in the end, all you got is you. Like I don't want to just like I'll focus on you, but like really like you know I say in the song like learn to love yourself before you get involved with someone. That turn a nigga into Jack and Hagar. No.
Yeah, and it also sounds like it's more of like focus on the things that you can control
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't like, sure, like stuff happens in life that you really have no control over, but like dwelling on it only gets you so far. It really just makes things worse most of the time.
Exactly. That's like really my philosophy on life. I feel like people be like just tripping a lot over like, what if this happens? What if that happens? It's like, yeah, but if you can't do anything about it and you're just gonna sit here worrying about it, like you're just gonna sit here and get worked up. And it's not gonna the outcome is not gonna change either way. So why are you sitting here getting worked up? Just relax. Like you literally can't do anything about it. So who cares?
Yeah.
I have a very like logic based thought pattern on these things.
That about kind of goes over the whole album. What are other, I guess, sort of thoughts or like, what do you want people to really take from this album as a whole?
Hopefully some of the messages like self, worry about you, um, don't trip off of other people. um, Me as an artist, hopefully you understand that like I have a lot of sounds to get out and I have a wide palette, and what you hear from me isn't what you're always going to be expecting to hear from me. And I think that's it.
Yeah, as far as the sound goes, like I did listen to a little bit of dancing yesterday too, and I'm like, it does sound quite a bit different sonically, like on a lot of the songs, really.
Yeah, I think dancing was like starting to realize that I can do some sort of pop stuff and some electronic stuff. That was the summer I got my vocoder and got
Hmm.
um, like my synthesizer. So I started really messing around with like electronic sounds like that. But I didn't really do it as well as like I could have now. Obviously, that was like 2 years ago. Um,
That was just experimentation, basically.
yeah, basically a lot of experimentation that I think for now articulates a little better. Like, I utilize the vocoder way better in these days than I do on songs and dancing and stuff. Not say dancing is really bad or anything. There's like a couple songs.
No, I mean, in my first listen through, I was pleased with it. So
Yeah, I'm always gonna be harder on me than like everybody else is.
that's always the case, isn't it?
Yeah. There's like really like two songs to me that really like hold up and that I would actually listen to. And the rest are just like that's so much better now.
Mm, fair enough. Well, I think that wraps about all my questions. Is there anything else that you want to just kind of tell everyone about yourself or about this album or what they should be on the lookout for? I guess.
Yeah, I would say look out for this press run. A lot of behind the scenes stuff, beat breakdowns if you're into that kind of thing. Podcast episodes if you're into that kind of thing. I'm sure you are if you're listening to this podcast. And lyric videos, stuff like that. And then moving forward, starting toward the end of the year, gonna be putting out a lot of singles and a lot of different sounds. Like if you think dancing to For Now was different, like For Now to this next batch of singles is gonna be way different. So I'm excited to show people my range.
I'm excited to see it or hear it too. um, yeah, I mean this this album was really good, and it honestly really caught me by surprise.
Thanks, man. I
I
really,
kind of wish that I actually listened to it when it first came out. Now,
is what it is. You heard it now. Put one friend on it.
oh yeah,
People on this podcast on it. That's all you
I've
can
been
do.
sharing it all the time. Like I'll be playing some Warzone with my friends. I'll be like, "Hey man, you guys really need to check this out. He's from your city." Like,
Yeah, dude. Appreciate you. Like, thank you, for real.
I mean, you always got to put on good music, right? Of
Yeah, yeah, of course. Thanks for like the platform.
course. Well, everyone, make sure to go listen to Casey Cope's For Now. It's on every streaming platform.
Yeah, even the ones that are like exclusive to Indonesia and shit. So yeah.
That's wild. All right, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about yourself and the album. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks again for having me.
We'll have to talk more just in general some
Yeah.
other time. All right,
All right. Peace.
see ya.